Alright, so let's explore making a typographic composition working with our point type. So I'll go ahead and hit T for the type tool. We're going to create something similar to what is on the template, although it's probably not going to be to the exact precise dimensions of what we have here, but as long as we get close, that's fine. So I'm going to start up here. I'm going to create this extended font. I'll just click once, and I'm working with Helvetica. I'm going to go ahead and reset my character panel, and I'll go to my favorites, and I'll come down to Helvetica, and now I'll type in fonts. I will capitalize all of those characters, hit the escape key, and let's see if we can just retransform this. Alright, that looks good. Okay, I'm going to create the word stretch. I'll select that, and I'll do the same thing. I'll go ahead and scale this up, and I'm going to extend this as well. Alright, now we have parts of the text that are stretching all the way down into here. So in order to modify the individual characters in this way, I need to outline the font. So I'll make sure I select it, and go to type and create outlines. I'll come over to my lasso tool. I can hit the Q key, and I'm basically going to lasso the anchor points that I want to affect on this E. I'll hit A for the wide arrow, so I just affect the points, and I will pull those points down while holding on the shift key. Q again for the lasso tool, and I'll select these bottom anchor points on the T, and then I'll stretch that down. Q for the lasso tool. Now I'll select the anchor points for the C. This one's going to be a little more difficult because there are a lot more smooth paths involved. We'll see how this goes. Not bad. Zoom in a little bit. And I might want to come in and just kind of stretch these points out a little bit, these direction handles, just to make that stretch look a little more natural. I think that's good. Alright, so last time, lasso tool, and I'll select the bottom of the H, and I will pull these down. Alright, so let's create this large C for the composition diagonal running word, or I'll hit T for the type tool. Click once, and I'll just hit C, and I think I want this to be Helvetica bold. Okay, I'll hit the escape key, and I will stretch this out, make it very large. Might have to zoom out. Actually, it looks like I'm going to be working with a regular. There we go, so something like that. Okay, I'll go ahead and outline that character, and I'll start using the wide arrow to adjust some of these points. When I start adjusting this point, I start to actually get this really uneven looking path from this point down to here. So to fix that, I'm actually just going to delete some of these points. So right here, I'm just going to delete that point and then smooth this one out a little bit more. I'll do the same thing, pull this one up a little bit, try that over here. So I'll pull this one up. You can see when I do that, I'm getting this awkward path. I'm just going to delete this point, and I'll start to kind of massage these direction handles a little bit more. And this one too. Go ahead and delete that one. So let's go ahead and create this diagonal word coming up here. So go ahead and use the type tool, and I'll just make sure that my panel is reset, and I will choose Helvetica, and I'll click once and type in on position. So we have this C already completed, and I'll select that, turn it into all caps, hit the escape key, and let's size this up a little bit. And I think I'll even make this a little more condensed. Okay, so now we need to kind of transform it along this axis right here, and we can see there's a little bit of perspective on it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and create outlines to those characters, and then I'm going to go back to the free transform tool. I'll start off with the perspective. I'll kind of stretch this out a little bit. So now that I've created all those characters, I'm going to add a little bit of a tilt to all of those. So I'll come up here to character rotation, and I'll type in -5. Okay, maybe even a little bit more. Try 7 degrees. Okay, so now that I have those roughly in the position that I want, I need to actually transform them to put them along this axis. So I'm going to go ahead and outline the type. So type, create outlines, and I'm going to use my free transform tool and go to the perspective distort, and so I'll go ahead and start transforming this just a little bit, and I'll kind of move that into place. Alright, and we need some final transformation edits to this, so I'm going to use the free distort, so we can get in a little bit more practice using this tool. Remember, you can only modify the edges of the bounding box. There we go, that's getting closer. It looks like I actually, in the template, used a bold type composition word, but this will do just fine. So that looks pretty good to me. Just trying to make the edge of this in a vertical position. Okay, so with that completed, I'll click on my black arrow, and I'll actually come back and modify this C a little bit more. I'm trying to go for a look that makes it look like this is form-fitted to the edge of the C. So I'm just using my white arrow to adjust the points. Okay, that's good. And the next thing I can see is I have a little bit of area type, and it looks like I've created a text wrap for the composition word. So I'll go ahead and create this text wrap first. So I'll hit P for the pen tool. I'll go ahead and use a white because I want the text wrap to match the background. And I'm just going to start by drawing a shape that goes around this part of the composition word. I'll go ahead and arrange that to the back. Okay, so now I have my shape. I'll go ahead and just turn this into a text wrap. So object, text wrap, and make. And I might want to make this a little bit tighter into the edges. Okay. And I'll grab my type tool again, and I'm using Helvetica. I'm going to go ahead and turn off any character rotation that I previously had. I'll go ahead and make some area type. Okay. And I'll turn off the all caps, and I'll just go ahead and copy this bottom text and then paste it a few times to fill that all in. Okay. In order for the text wrap to displace the text, I need to arrange it to the back. So arrange and send to back, and there now the text wrap is activated. Alright, and so this last part, dealing with just a rectangular box and then the word typography inside of there, and it looks like we're using the touch type tool for this. So I'll actually start by creating the typography first, and then I will come back and add the rectangular box afterwards. Let's go ahead and grab our vertical type tool, and I'm going to click once here, and I'll type in typography. And I'll select that all, turn it into all caps. I'm going to go ahead and use a bold style. I'll hit the escape key and size this up. So now that I have that roughly in place, I'll go ahead and find my touch type tool. You can find that in the character panel or in the tool panel. Start selecting individual characters and modifying them. Zoom in a little bit more. Start sizing this T into place. And I'm not going to get near exact, but close. Move this Y into place. And I'm getting a little option right over here. This is asking me if I want to turn it into a lowercase, and I'm just going to go ahead and ignore that. It's blue bars. A little annoying though. I didn't have that right there. And the O. And I might have been using an extended type on the template, probably using Helvetica New. This will work just fine. And the R, a little bit bigger. And the A, I'm just kind of lining up at the end of these. And finally the Y. Alright, go ahead and zoom out. Alright, so now that I have that all in place, I'll go ahead and switch the color to white, and then I'll grab the rectangle tool, choose black, and I'll go ahead and make a rectangular shape, and then arrange it to the back. There we go. And we're just about done. Let's go ahead and end this by creating a clipping mask window for this composition. I'll grab my rectangle tool again. I'll hit Shift X to just have an outline. And now I'll create the window to crop this composition. I want to crop right at that bottom part of the O and at the edge of this rectangle. So I'll release, hit V for my black arrow. I will select all of the objects, right click, make clipping mask, and there we go. So that's making a typographic composition using just point type and some of the tools we've been using with the character panel.